And
cool.
that's why I wanted to start with that comment, because
Yeah.
we're going to talk tonight a bit about Chamber of Commerce, what you do in that, and what's happening in the Seng area, which I love. But the point is, you come at that from someone who's been ingrained in the community for so long through generations. And I think that's an important part to start with, mate. It's people look at people who are in these certain positions like Chamber of Commerce and think, are they there for various other reasons to make noise? But you actually grew out of the community into that position. So, mate, what does it mean now where you stepped in for a long time now, and we're good mates, so I'm putting that out there, that I see the work you do around the place and I really expect what you do.
Thank you.
But you walked into a role of Chamber of Commerce. So what does that mean to be the president of Chamber of Commerce, and what does the Chamber of Commerce do, and how does that carry into your love of the local community?
So without going back too far in the piece, the Chamber of Commerce, I remember it was actually our 50-year anniversary for Bilbon Car Sales, and it was the very first year that the Deagon Race Day was about. And as I just said, good segue, Mick. My grandfather was a racehorse trainer, and I thought, what a great way to integrate my grandfather, my father, and our family business, being 50 years in business. That we sponsor a race at the inaugural Deagon Picnic Race Day, and we did. Yeah. And it was quite amazing. And I remember going to the morning of the draw, and the Chamber of Commerce was running the event, and you draw whichever race you sponsor on the day. And I won't say what we cost, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was reasonable money, but it wasn't stupid money. But I thought I was giving back to the business community, and I remember the then people in charge of the organisation said, "Oh, that's great money. This money now will go back into the community." And I went, "What do you mean, go back into the community?" And they said, "Oh, yeah, it goes back into the community programs and that sort of stuff." I said, "No, aren't you this is the Chamber of Commerce. Shouldn't it be going back into supporting local businesses and what we can do to make local businesses' lives better?" And they said no. And I walked away from that going, "Oh, it's a bit bizarre." And speeding forward a few months, a couple of local people came to me and said, "Look, we need to start up an organisation in the area that is representative of the businesses." And I said, well, you've already got a Chamber of Commerce. And they said, no, the Chamber of Commerce is not working for us. It's sort of a little bit political, and it's sort of like fallen beside the wayside, and it's not representative of the community. I said, oh, look, I'm not going there. I'm not picking fights with people, believe it or not. And you know me well, Mick. I love a fight, but I didn't want to get.
It's not Friday night, mate. So yeah.
Well, not physical fights, but I love a verbal fight. And I said, well, look, instead of let's starting up a new Chamber of Commerce, we've already got the machine. It's already got the wheels. And then let's build the race car. And so what happened is myself and a group of other people said, look, let's get the Chamber of Commerce reinvigorated, lifestyle, get it going for the area. The businesses weren't being represented, and that's the bottom line. And I'm sorry, and as we just said before, it wasn't happening. I think there was about 5 or 6 members of the Chamber of Commerce at the time, and people like myself tried to join. We weren't able to join, so we literally put money in bank accounts and joined, and under the Constitution, and we ran an AGM, and 2 days later, that's another story for another time, but I was elected Chamber of Commerce president. That's 10 years ago this year, Nick.
What year was that? 2000?
10 years ago, 2016. The precinct plan. The precinct plan has come about. We had a few years ago, we had a neighbourhood plan for the Deagon Ward, which encompassed the whole entire Deagon Ward. And unfortunately, that didn't get up. People talk about Sandgate's character, and some people have hijacked what Sandgate's character is. Okay. It's about old buildings. Well, you know what? What's Sandgate's character about? And we spoke about it a few different times tonight. Sandgate's character is about its people. It's not about buildings. Yeah. Precinct plan, we've been working on Brisbane City Council, and we're going to be hearing more about it in the near future. Has rejigged it. The neighbourhood plan didn't work because it was too widespread and too shotgun and too political. The precinct plan, we've been working with Brisbane City Council, and this program was probably going to be the first time you're going to hear about this publicly, I suppose. So there you go, Nick. You got an exclusive at this stage. The precinct plan will deal with the main street of Sandgate, basically from the railway station up to 6th Avenue, and it's about generating the ability to drive investment and income into our businesses. At the moment, as you know, the businesses in our area are living hand to mouth. And I hear people, let's protect our village. Well, they're going to kill it with kindness, because there ain't enough people coming and spending money in our area. Every business in the area, walk down the main street tomorrow and ask them, how many people are you getting in your shop? They'll tell you it's not enough. All right. Yeah. And people talk about rents. Well, rents are only applicable to what the money is made out of the shops. All right. And landlords don't like to have vacant properties most of the time, nearly all the time. So what we need with the precinct plan, the first thing we need to do is we need to protect our community character. All right. The second thing we need to do is we need to generate the ability, and what the Chamber of Commerce is about, to drive the economic engine of our community. And we go back to it, talking about our character. Our character is derived from a tourism town. Now, we're not going to be the Gold Coast, and we're not going to be the Sunshine Coast. We're never going to be that. But we've got the ability to be a niche market where people come for the day or the weekend, come to weddings, spend the time here for the weekend, and invest money in our community. The other thing it does is short-term accommodation. Nick, you're a musician. How many weddings and 50th birthday parties have you been to in our area lately?
Oh, I'm doing one this coming weekend. And
okay, you're making me.
It is an issue that people can't stay in there. They've got to stay.
You can't stay in the area. If you have an event, we're talking about events. You have a party, and your friends come from interstate or anywhere outside our area, they can't stay here. So they go and stay at Redcliffe. They go and stay at other parts of Brisbane, and that's just silly. It's just crazy. I don't get it. That include that's the short-term accommodation, but the ability to downsize. There's a great demand for it, and we can address that, and that's what the Sandgate Precinct Plan, I believe, is working towards. We haven't announced what that plan is. It's early days, but let me stress, it's very early days, and until we have a look at it, and I haven't seen it, let's just be positive about it and work towards keeping the community bigger and better.
I can just summarize a little bit from what I've seen from tonight's chat and tell me if I'm wrong on anything. One, as someone who's lived in the area, raised kids in the area, there is such a great community spirit. So it goes back to the days in the 1800s where it was a place to come to with your families to celebrate and everything else. I love being around the bay at in the 4017 area. So I think it's a great place to live to start with. And I think you're saying that. Secondly, it's important we keep that vibe about it. But there are things we need to look at changing if it's going to move forward. And a few of those things you've mentioned are development of short-term accommodation places, but also the downscaling of not just looking at how you've got one house that gets sold, someone else moves in, they renovate it, you've got the same number of people, nothing really changes. How do we get more accommodation there for people who move out of those houses if their kids aren't there anymore and they want to stay in the area, so they want to build more accommodation? I grew up in the Grange area in Brisbane. I've lived like in Los Angeles. I've lived in outside of Ipswich. I've lived in Mango Hill. I've lived in all these different places. None of those places I've lived in as far as direct suburbs put on 4 or 5 major events that bring people to their region that 4017 does. So not only do you have the investment opportunities, you have an active community there that are putting on major events that are Queensland leading events that bring people to the region. Sandgate and 4017 is ready to grow and ready to happen. And Billy, I want to thank you so much for this chat, brother.
Thank you, Nick. It's a great area. We should all work together. And I think I once said to a local politician, I don't give a rat's what side of the politic divide you are. If you're going to stand front and centre to support our community, I'll stand front and centre with you.